everyone. My name is Shelby. Thank you for coming tonight, and I hope you enjoy my speech. When thinking about someone special who has impacted my life, many came to mind. I'm sure it was the same for you. I have many important people in my life who have each in their own way impacted my life significantly. Once I took some time to really think about it, I realized the one person who has taught me so much, who has made me a better me, is my 7-year-old son, Aiden. I know you may think it sounds silly to think a tiny innocent human can have impacted my 23 years of life so much. That having a child is just mom duties and a 9-to-5 job, and coming home to clean a house full of toys for the 5th time that day. I won't lie, it is most of that, but I'm here to tell you it's so much more than you can imagine. Luckily, my son has taught me just what I needed. He has taught me how to love unconditionally, something I never knew I was capable of. With love comes patience. Something he's also helped me learn. Lastly, the most important thing he has taught me is strength. When my son was welcomed to this world, January 12th of 2012, it was love at first sight. Growing up, my childhood was not the easiest. I've witnessed my father who has battled addiction as well as psychological issues. In his mind, he was to come first before anyone, including his children. All of the anger, abuse, and addiction led me to believe he was incapable of loving anyone. Experiencing the lack of love had me convinced I would be the same way, incapable of loving someone the way that they deserve unconditionally, until I became pregnant. I vowed to myself and my son that I would love him endlessly, not only to create a healthy foundation, but also in hopes to learn real meaning of love myself. Once I had my son, I quickly became in love, the kind I didn't know existed. As he grew, his love for me and my family was so natural that it showed me that not having love was something that had to be taught. His energy of love soon began to encourage me to give love to everyone I surrounded myself with, regardless of who someone is, what their choices may be, or what they believe in. During this learning process from my son, I received a call from my dad. He asked me if I loved him. At this time, we were on good terms. I immediately thought of my son and the love we share. I wanted everyone to experience that. I replied back to my dad with, of course I do. 7 years ago, I would have not picked up that phone. But because of Aiden, I did. With love comes patience, another thing that my son continues to teach me every day. Let me explain exactly how learning patience has helped me in my daily life. Patience is such a broad word, whether that be patience with my toddler that would never stop playing with anything but his own toys, which he had a lot of, or patience with my career and goals that I wish so badly would happen overnight. Becoming a young mom meant having patience, which I had very little at 15 years old. Once Aiden was old enough to crawl, I was at my all-time high with stress. I had no idea how to be patient with his curious mind. Within time, I learned how to patiently teach him what was off limits, but still allow him to experience what he was curious about. For example, there was a time when Aiden started eating solid foods, such as bananas, pears, mashed potatoes. He was more curious about the food than actually eating it. I became incredibly impatient that a 15-minute meal turned into what felt like forever. Eventually, I gave in and I allowed him to touch, grab, or smear the food all over his high chair, which I did clean up. I quickly learned that patience with him always made for a better outcome for the both of us. Patience with my child was not the only thing that I struggled with, but also with my career and all the goals I wanted to achieve. After I obtained my GED in 2015, I immediately started college. I took part-time classes while juggling a full-time job. I knew how hard it could be, but never anticipated how long it would take. I caught myself constantly thinking about how long each semester would take, which ended up being overwhelming. I thought about my son and how much time passed accomplishing all the things I learned within parenthood. I started to be patient and take day by day, which ultimately helped me do better with my grades and classes. With that being said, strength was the most important lesson so far that I've learned from my son. My willingness to learn, accomplish, and overcome didn't always come natural. Strength was something my son was able to help me with. Before I had my son, I was more interested in finding ways out of the house to avoid my dad. I had no motivation to keep going, no goals, no dreams, not ones that I thought were realistic anyways. Until, of course, I became a mother and I realized there was another life that counted on me. It was a natural instinct to do better, to achieve more than I thought possible. All I needed was my son, and I immediately could see my bright future. He gave me strength to crawl out of the dark hole that I was in for so long. On top of the stress of being a young mom, I became a single young mother. Aiden's father and I shortly split about 1 year after he was born. I thought I couldn't keep going. I thought it was impossible to be a single mom and achieve and provide all that I had to do for a child of my own. I felt as if I was never going to be able to go far in life, until Aiden's bright smile and uplifting attitude projected onto me. He was my reason to keep going. At that point, I never looked back on any negatives or any doubt that hindered me from moving forward. The strength he gave me and continues to give me, fighting for anything and everything I can, The strength he gave me and continues to give me keeps me fighting for anything and everything I can dream of. His innocent, tiny self helped me stand on my own 2 feet again. Now that you know all the ways that my son has and continues to impact my life, I hope this was able to show you just how significant a child can be in someone's life, in ways we may not think are possible. Having a child does not mean that your life is over. Instead, I like to think of it as life is just beginning. The endless amounts of goals you can achieve with the strength you endure, the love you can witness and project onto others, and the patience that can soften your soul. A quote I came across that I feel pertains to me says, "I came to parenting the way most of us do, knowing nothing and trying to learn everything," by Maheen Balik. That's it. Thank you.